Okay, day 76, this is part 4. Still no Braverman, no Brown. I'm in a position now to go a little one layer down in detail of who Eric Braverman said follow the money. And I added arms and oil, and then researchers added kids. I'm ready to go one layer deeper. Several people, researchers have mentioned there's 1,100 hidden donors to the Clinton Foundation. I'm prepared to say what the modus operandi is now for those 1,100 people. And these are basically people that are being extorted through something known as a brownstone operation, which is filming them with low light cameras having sex with somebody they shouldn't have. So you can extort money from them. So I'm going to just say right now it's going to be the president of every country that has oil. It's going to be the Director of Intelligence. The top Director of Intelligence is also going to be one of those people. And many countries, the Minister of Oil is also the president. Countries like Nigeria, those types of countries. But for countries that have a separate Minister of Oil or oil and gas resources, those are going to be the big three in every country. So you're going to have all the NATO countries. I'm making a prediction right now. All the NATO countries you're going to have that have oil presence, if they're or a mineral presence. Director of National Resources is going to be the target. This includes the U.S. So for the U.S., this is going to be even more so. All the members of the Senate Armed Services Committee and all the members of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee are going to be have been targeted in some way with the brownstone operation. I'm not saying they all fell for it, but I'm going to just say they've all been targeted. And this is something that people find unbelievable. But if you read the CIA manuals, they tell you how to go into a country with $10,000 and end up 10 years later controlling the government. And I can explain how that's done through the brownstone operations. But believe me, it's all been written down and it's all been tried before. This is all old news as far as CIA techniques, sources, and methods. So going back to the 90s, here's Valerie Plame and here was her boss, Tyler Drumheller at the CIA. Sid Blumenthal was the key guy that ran the operation for the NATO generals, and he's the key guy who ran the operation for the presidents, as like a Tony Blair, David Cameron, and also key resources people in the UK, as well as several European countries. So I'm going to just go ahead and say that those are going to be some of the people that are involved. David Cameron is going to be one of them, and Tony Blair is going to be another one. You're also going to have Prince Andrew. So everyone probably already knows Prince Andrew is one of the people that was blackmailed here at Little St. James Island by Jeffrey Epstein. But Epstein's going to be your U.S. and South American, Central America brownstone operation for the extortion campaign. I'm not saying he was involved in the NATO operations. That's going to be more standalone up here, and we're going to have more data coming out about that. But the key person that recruited these folks and got them to the parties, and then there were other people that got them going to the after parties, is going to be Valerie Plame, and it's going to be the NATO generals, the key armed forces folks in the military, and as new people come on, they're going to be targeted as well. So a lot of people ask, Bill Clinton had the donor information on the Clinton Foundation servers, and Hillary had the people being extorted. Those are really, with Hillary, those are the same thing. No one's really giving money to the Clinton Foundation. They're routing it through celebrities to make it look like people are giving money, so normal people will give money, but most of these big donors are extortions. So, and we're just going to create a list of all the folks and then do searches and basically prove it all. Here is the CIA plan to infiltrate with JTTF into the CIA, into the FBI. The key guy for that move is going to be McCabe here. This operation is going to be for the U.S. They're going to target U.S. Army generals that are in making decisions on the Lockheed F-35, key decision makers for weapons programs in the United States. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. The victim of the Denver area, Brownstone, not in Denver, but I'll talk about Boulder later on, but the Denver area operation is going to be in Boulder, and that's going to be for U.S. arms purchasing. For Africa, it's all these nations here, these 1,000 donors are going to be, like I said, the premier or the president of the country, the oil minister, resources minister, and the foreign intelligence minister. And if it's a country like the Congo, that's going to be the guy in charge of uranium. Whatever the most valuable resource is, that those are going to be the people who are targeted with the brownstone operation. It's all going to be coordinated through the HSBC records. Okay, I've said this for a long time, in these presentations, but I'm now saying exactly who it's going to be. So the list we can name names here pretty quickly. Just to give an example, and this is again Monica Peterson reporting, not me. You see, for instance, you create a vehicle for donations, which is IHRC, and you're going to have Bell Reeve, the guy who's in charge of the government, be on that committee. There's another person that Hillary goes down and meets a couple days after the earthquake, and I can't remember his name right off the bat, but there's two or three. There's going to be 2 or 3 for every country that you're going after. So for all the Carlos Slim countries, for South America and Central America and the Caribbean, those targets are going to, those 1,100 hidden donors in the Juster partnership are going to be all those leaders. But they're going to include the intelligence. The reason why they're going to include the intelligence director is the intelligence director is going to run all the brownstones. They're not. The secret of this is the hierarchical nature of it. Once you come in at the top level, then you get the intelligence director to run those operations on their circle of people, and so on and so on and so forth. That's how you go from having $10,000 running your first brownstone party to controlling the nation in 10 years. So it's a hierarchical way of extortion. You're going to find that's going to be done through the cell phones and the micro loan sharking. So as how the payments are going to come back up. I'll explain that more later. So you're going to find this hacking group. You're going to find another group is going to be the main hackers. You're going to find another group in Israel that I still don't know exactly the Ben Gurion group. If I think the Ben Gurion group is actually fighting against Hillary, tracking all these hacks. Certainly, as a wannabe Israeli, I am hoping that Netanyahu is using that information. I'm not sure if that's how. Well, I won't say anymore. I make the desert bloom, the Geb Brigade. So, and like I said, in the United States, the key guys are going to be Graham and McCabe. So, but there's going to be others on both the Senate Arms Relations Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And proof is coming. Now, here's where I wanted to get to. All this information that you're seeing from these hacks. So over the years, you've got the videos of the people. Those are the blackmail. But then you also have targets, because it's a funnel type operation. I'll just use this as a funnel. And you keep accumulating potential areas of extortion from these people. So maybe the person has porn on their computer, and we'll go after the porn angle. Maybe the person has a gambling habit, we'll go after that. Maybe they have a drug habit, we'll go after that. Maybe they'll have, if we don't, we can try to get them interested in extramarital sex or whatever, and then work them down to 16-year-old girls and then 12-year-old girls. So there's a whole kind of funnel here. And these hacks that you keep seeing in the news, you go, what's going on with these hacks? These hacks are not being done by, like for instance, this, I don't have the Crackers with Attitude hack here of the FBI and the CIA, but they're not being done by 2 13-year-olds. They're being done by Joe Clancy over at Secret Service, or they're being done by the FBI hackers or CIA hackers. But the reason why they're going in for these things is they're looking for things like where you may have a conversation in Yahoo about kid porn or something, or you may have kid porn in those emails. The reason why they're doing the Aetna hacks and all, there's been many insurance hacks, is because they're looking for mental health information. So they want to be able to go into your employer and they go, well, so-and-so, he's had this or had that. The OPM hack of all the government employees is the same thing. If they have ever cheated on a test, or if they've ever failed a test, or if this is sort of like the Jason Chaffetz hack, or let's say they've just fudged an expense report or something like that, and they ever got written up by their boss. So that's why you see the write-ups are so important. They're always looking for these write-ups. Now, I'm not saying Amy Rayo, who is Hillary's #1 finance campaign. You might remember her from the famous hidden camera stuff that Project Veritas did. I'm not saying she knows what's on her servers, but I am saying that that this Black Book information is on the Integrated Archive Solutions servers in California. She's based in Palo Alto, okay? And I think it's pretty clear that if the ATF gun information, all that type of stuff, again, I'm not a gun owner, but all that stuff is on on these servers as well. So this is where the deplorables comes in. This is an active program to disintegrate or disturb, diffuse and disturb folks and work them down the funnel until you get them to a point where you can extort money from them in some way, or just get rid of them, take their assets. I'll go through how they can process assets from a person in a later video, but the idea is literally like a CIA agent going into a new country with $10,000. 10 years later, you end up with all the money by a series of these extortions, and there's several ways to get the money out of from an individual that I can talk about later. But it all goes back to the CIA manual. So that's it for today. Thanks.